You want to own a private prison, find a site, build the cells, win a government contract. But here is the strange part. Your customer can fill every room without asking the occupants. Yet your most dangerous business problem is an empty bed. You are entering a business where demand comes from government. Payment arrives for each occupied day, and a concrete building can operate for decades. You are also entering a business where one cancelled contract can turn a prison with thousands of beds into an expensive empty shell almost overnight. You are going to see how that contradiction works, where your money actually comes from, why a paid population still does not guarantee a profit, and why the asset you think is a prison is really something else, a government receivable attached to specialized real estate. Start with 3 sizes. At the small end, CoreCivic lists the Austin Residential Reentry Center in Del Valle, Texas. It was acquired in 2015, and the company's property table records about $5,834,000 of land, buildings, and improvements. That buys you a supervised residential facility, not a giant fenced compound. Move up to Adams County Correctional Center in Mississippi. It was constructed or acquired in 2008, holds 2,232 beds, and carries gross recorded investment of $125,825,000. Divide one by the other, and your historical investment is roughly $56,000 per bed. Then look at California City Correctional Center. The facility list gives you 2,560 beds. The property table records $146,906,000 of gross investment. California's lease ended on March 31, 2024, and the place became idle. At year-end, CoreCivic still carried it at $73,232,000. That is your first reversal. The cheapest prison is not the one with the lowest cost per bed. It is the one with a paying contract. Your construction budget buys steel doors, medical rooms, kitchens, cameras, and fencing. It does not buy a single compensated day. You now have to operate a miniature city whose residents cannot leave. CoreCivic's filing names salaries and benefits, utilities, property taxes, repairs, maintenance, food, medical services, vocational programs, personal care supplies, and insurance. Your building is specialized, your staffing is regulated, and your customer can audit the result. You also carry costs when nobody arrives. CoreCivic reported 9 idle correctional facilities available for marketing at the end of 2024, plus other idle properties. Those idle facilities consumed $17,400,000 during the year. The same burden was $12,200,000 in 2023 and $9,400,000 in 2022. Your empty inventory still needs security, insurance, and maintenance. Your contract can be fragile too. Management agreements generally allow the government customer to terminate without cause. At the South Texas Family Residential Center, ICE gave notice in June 2024 and ended the arrangement on August 9th. In 2023, that single facility had generated $156,600,000 of revenue and $65,600,000 of net operating income. In 2024, before termination, it still generated $101,200,000 of revenue and $51,500,000 of net operating income. You can protect yourself with structure. CoreCivic leased that site from a third party and said it could end its own lease without a financial penalty. If you own the concrete instead, your customer can leave while your mortgage stays. Then you meet the strangest procurement story in the industry. In Pennsylvania, former Luzerne County Judge Mark Civarella was sentenced in 2011 to 28 years in federal prison after convictions including racketeering. The Justice Department tied the case to payments connected with privately owned juvenile detention facilities. You should not treat that scandal as a normal contract. You should treat it as the reason procurement controls, conflicts checks, and judicial independence are not paperwork. Your prison is a hotel where the guest does not choose the room, but the buyer can cancel the whole reservation. Your mechanism has an industry name, the compensated man day. One person in one paid place for one day equals 1 unit. Picture 2 storage buildings on your kitchen table. Each has 100 lockers. In the first building, 75 lockers are rented. In the second, 85 are rented. Both buildings need a roof, a manager, cameras, and electricity. The second owner does not build another roof to sell those 10 extra lockers. Most of that extra rent falls through to the bottom line. Now, replace lockers with beds. Across CoreCivic's placed in service correctional, detention, and re-entry facilities in 2024, each compensated day produced $101.50 of revenue. Fixed expense was $57.08. Variable expense was $20.08. Total operating expense was $77.16. What remained was $24.34 of operating income, a 24% facility-level margin. The small rule change is occupancy. CoreCivic averaged 68,200 available beds, but only 51,165 compensated people. That is 75% occupancy. If one more existing bed is filled, you collect $101.50. The immediately identified variable expense is about $20.08. Before extra fixed cost, the contribution can be about $81.42 for that day. That subtraction is analysis, not a promised margin, but it shows you why the next occupied bed matters so much. Compare 2 nearly identical versions of your asset. An owned and operated facility makes you provide the building and the service. A managed-only facility lets the government keep the real estate while you sell operations. Your daily economics may look similar, but the first version leaves you holding an idle prison if the population moves. The second leaves you holding payroll and a terminated management contract. Here is the counterintuitive reveal. Your most profitable customer is not necessarily the jurisdiction paying the highest daily rate. It is the customer that keeps a compliant facility steadily occupied. An extra $10 of rate helps every paid day. 10 points of occupancy can spread the same roof, control room, and perimeter across thousands more paid days. You build the entire machine around that unit. Intake turns a person into a compensated day. Rosters prove the count. Cameras, gates, and staffing posts keep the contract compliant. Food, medicine, and transport satisfy service requirements. Case management software documents what happened. Billing converts the roster into a government invoice. Your internal vocabulary matters. Per diem is the price for a paid day. Design capacity is the number of beds the building was designed to hold. Compensated occupancy is paid population divided by available beds. Idle capacity is not spare cash. It is concrete waiting for a customer. You also choose among 3 ownership models. You can own and operate. You can operate a government-owned facility, or you can own the property and lease it to an agency or another operator. The more layers you own, the more revenue lines you can capture. You also keep more failure points. Your customer concentration is top-heavy. In 2024, the 3 federal agencies identified by CoreCivic collectively represented 40% of total revenue. Tennessee represented another 10%. That means roughly half of your revenue can sit behind 4 government relationships. No celebrity prisoner creates that value. Contract officers, appropriations, and renewals do. You can see the same operating leverage at GEO Group. Its United States Secure Services facilities averaged 86.6% occupancy in 2024, excluding idle facilities. GEO estimated that activating 11 idle secure and re-entry facilities at its 2024 average rates and occupancy could add about $377 million of annual revenue. That is management's estimate, not your guarantee. But it reveals what the company believes its empty capacity can become. Compress your revenue model into one line. Contracted beds multiplied by paid occupancy, multiplied by per diem rate, multiplied by days in service. You can start with GEO's consolidated cost texture. Out of every revenue dollar in 2024, about 73 cents went to operating expenses before depreciation. Then you still had depreciation, corporate administration, and interest. GEO reported $2,423,702,000 of revenue, but only $31,896,000 of net income. Your strange expenses never stop at the cell door. You need medical supplies for a population that cannot choose another provider. You need perimeter lighting all night. You need transport teams for court and hospital trips. You need vacant post overtime when hiring misses the staffing plan. You need repairs to doors designed not to open. CoreCivic's filing shows fixed expense of $57.08 per compensated day before the $20.08 of variable expense. Your first failure pattern is 4 words: contract gone, concrete remains. California City Correctional Center had 2,560 beds. When California's lease ended in March 2024, the prison became idle. At December 31st, its net carrying value was still $73,232,000. Your lesson is direct. Never value the wall without valuing the renewal. Your second pattern is 4 words: one incident ends revenue. The Willacy County Correctional Center in Texas suffered a major disturbance in February 2015 and was left uninhabitable. The Federal Bureau of Prisons terminated its contract with Management and Training Corporation. The physical asset did not need to disappear for the business model to stop. Your lesson is sharper. Operational failure can turn tomorrow's paid population into today's empty liability. Your third warning is the profitable contract that vanishes. South Texas Family Residential Center produced $65,600,000 of net operating income in 2023. ICE ended the arrangement in August 2024. CoreCivic escaped the property lease without a penalty, but the earnings stream was still gone. Your revenue can look recurring right up to the notice letter. You can now model a small case. Suppose your contract pays the CoreCivic 2024 average and you keep 500 places compensated all year. 500 multiplied by $101.50 multiplied by 365 days gives you about $18,524,000 of annual revenue. At $24.34 of operating income per paid day, you get about $4,442,000 before interest, tax, and corporate overhead. If your all-in facility costs $25 million, that simplified operating payback is about 5.6 years. Your result is not a valuation. A security level, medical mandate, wage schedule, or occupancy miss can move every line. Now take the Adams County scale. 2,232 beds, 75% occupancy, the same average rate. You get roughly $61,991,000 of annual revenue and $14,860,000 of facility operating income. Against the recorded gross investment of $125,825,000, simple payback is about 8.5 years before financing, tax, and overhead. Your larger building does not automatically pay back faster. It gives you more operating leverage and a larger stranded asset if the contract fails. Put your prison beside an ordinary hotel. The hotel guesses tomorrow's occupancy and can discount a room to attract a guest. You negotiate with one government buyer, often years at a time, and the resident does not shop your rate. Your trade is predictable payment against concentrated political and operating risk. Here is a fact most people miss. CoreCivic's 2024 federal management revenue was $1,002,200,000. State management revenue was $775,400,000. Local management revenue was $50 million. You are not really selling confinement to individuals. You are selling outsourced capacity and services to public agencies. You can trace the modern American industry to named founders. CoreCivic's own history identifies Tom Beasley and T. Don Hutto as co-founders and describes the company as creating a new competitive industry around prison operations. Their winning move was not inventing a stronger lock. It was turning government's capacity problem into a repeatable private contract. By 2024, the company recorded $1,9 $961,600,000 of annual revenue. That pays off the promise. Your private prison is specialized real estate, but the real asset is the invoice. Beds create capacity. Occupancy creates revenue. Compliance keeps the customer. The wall only matters while the contract pays for the day. You do not own the population. You own the risk between the bed and the bill.